Hello future tech leaders, I'm Sindhuja. Based on my own experience, I know that learning the right skills can shape our future. What if I say learning was as thrilled as the tech world itself? There we go. A cloud foundation, that's exactly what you will experience. From day one, you will be immersed in the interactive sessions and expert-led courses that covers most of the widely used technologies in the zone of data science to cloud computing, which brings more light to the life of a techie. I'm so excited to help you and unlock the true potential of a technology. Well, then why to wait? Let's see what it unfolds.
Today we are going to talk about approval related stuff. Can anyone explain in your environment? Obviously, you would have submitted any request, right? How many level of approvals you have noticed? I have seen two levels of approvals in my environment mostly. The first level is generally line manager, and then second level is the system owner or the role owner or something like this. That's true. Usually, the first level of approval will be required from user's manager. In Sailpoint, obviously we'll have identity, and every identity will have a manager field. That particular manager, information manager, value is responsible to provide first level of approval. When it comes to second level, it depends on which item user are going to request. Because as you know, users are allowed to request either entitlement or role in Sailpoint, right? It should be either entitlement owner or role owner. We can define something like that. Let's say if I ask you to define third level approval, fourth level approval, is that possible to achieve? Any idea? It should be. That's what we are going to learn today. Today we are going to talk about how to define multi-level of approval. Then we'll talk about approval split also. How to split the approval. Then we can talk about these two customizations if time permits. Can any one of you share your screen that I can walk you through how to define multi-level of approval? Then we'll talk about delegation and further. But to run this entire scenario, we need identities, application, and data one tools. It needs to be configured. Or else I'll do one thing. Let me share my entire screen. In this time, we'll try to do it from my system itself. The manager is left an organization. His manager will be replaced. The manager information will be updated in HR application. Is that right? But let's say the next aggregation, it will update in Sailpoint also. But let's say today the manager has been left in the HR system. Then maybe the next hiring will be after 1 month or 2 months, something like this. Sometimes it's not possible to hire a new manager immediately. It will remain empty or how it will work. In Sailpoint, if user is going to leave, account will be removed. All the application accounts will be removed, but still identity will be there in Sailpoint. User will have the manager, but same manager, but that is in the disabled state or something. Maybe identity status will be inactive, something like that. Actually, the approval work item. Let's say in that scenario, if user is going to submit request, the approval work item will be assigned to the actual manager who already left an organization. Then we have to delegate them manually. Got. What about entitlement owner and role owner? Automatically changes. Same application, no. No, I didn't get that. Same application means. Like that? You said that we register any application. We give the owner of the application. Correct. Once owner left the organization, it automatically changed once you hire again. No, identity will be there. We have to update that application owner name entitlement. Owner name manually. Manually. Application needs to be done manually. Only identity change. Yes, because it will be updated in the HR application. We cannot update identity manager field automatically. Without any object of the Sailpoint IIQ, we will have to update manually. Correct? Like application entitlements, roles, etc. The owner, we have to update manually. But when it comes to identity, we cannot update because it will be fetched from HR application. Yes, it is. Guys, I think in the approval also I have to show how to assign this manager because that we can talk about manager correlation also. Today I implement the new one. Of course, that we can do the same there. New HRMS application already on board. I hope you would have identities aggregated. Thank you much. Here we are having the first. Guys, just we aggregated the data from HR application and identity got created and already you guys are aware how to define first name, last name values automatically, right? Now we are going to learn how to assign this manager field. If you want to assign manager field manually, just click on gear icon, go to global setting. You have to navigate to identity mapping. From this identity mapping, you have to select whether it's for first name, last name, for any attribute. If you want to map the value from HR application, then you can rely on this attribute. We can do it manually from here. And using rule, we can do it automatically. The values can be mapped automatically. Let's select manager attribute. I'm going to instruct Sailpoint manager. Field needs to be getted from HR application. And which attribute, which column we are going to select? It's going to be manager value. Click Add. That's it. Now we can refresh all the identities attributes can be, which automatic attributes can. The values can be mapped automatically. But here we need to talk about manager correlation. This is all we are going to do it in real time. This manager correlation, I'm going to talk about extra. It won't happen in real time. Can you open the source data file and that auth employees files, all else? I'm talking about the Excel sheet from where we aggregated the data. Basically, first time you cannot load because users are not. Identity are not there in the cell phone, right? You need to load an auth employee file. Thank you. Now I'll take control. Chandan, you were saying something. I was saying that first time we cannot load the manager because identity are not there. First, we need to load all the identity from HRMS. Know that we can. It's not necessary. While aggregating the data itself, we can. And manage the field also. Here I am covering a little bit late that you can understand. Whenever identities are going to create a new joining manager field, also will be getting updated at the same time. Now we need to talk about manager correlation. We instructed Sailpoint. Manager field value needs to be get it from this column. Assume this is Excel sheet, from this column value needs to be getting. Which means 1, 2, 3, 4, fourth value right. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 year is going to be the manager field. It very rarely manager correlation. You need to depend on real time. And manager correlation will be applicable only for HR application, not for other target application. Here you could see 1 year is the manager value. But 1 year actually it's employee ID also. We need to correlate. The manager ID should equal to employee ID. Then only the value will be fetched in Sailpoint. Or else it won't. Here you could see manager ID value on employee ID values are getting matched. We have to correlate them first. Initially, this value needs to be updated in Sailpoint. Like here, we don't. If you are going to open any identity, you cannot find any employee ID attribute. As of now, we are having username, first name, last name, email, manager type. We don't have employee ID attribute. First, we need to ensure employee ID value can be fetched from the target HR application. Then we can get into manager correlation. First, we will introduce new attribute. The attribute name is called employee ID. Let me repeat once again in real time, you won't follow these steps. Because directly we can get the value from HR application. No need to define manager correlation or not. It needs to be searchable. Manager value cannot. Any identity cannot have multiple manager usually. No need to check these boxes. I am going to insert this employee ID value needs to be get it from HR application. From this attribute. That's it, we define. I will take control. Thank you. Now go to identity. Identity, where else open any one identity. Still the employee attribute, employee ID attribute. It's not appearing here. We have to navigate to debug page. Click on UI configuration. Here we have to search for identity view attribute entry key. After administrator, you have to type the new attribute which we introduce. It's going to be employee ID. Click save. That's it. Now go to identity where else and check. Here we could see employee ID attribute has been added. But here the value needs to be fetched first. How will you fetch the value? Just you have to refresh all the attributes by executing the task. The task name is refresh identity key. This task will ensure all the identities will be refreshed. Along with it, all the attribute also will be refreshed. We are having an argument called refresh identity attribute. It needs to be checked. Just go ahead and execute. It will be refreshed. Now we are able to fetch employee ID value. Now it's time to define correlation after that. The moment you are going to refresh all the attributes. Manager value also will be fetched. And as I said earlier, manager correlation needs to be defined only on HR application. and our cone correlation needs to be defined in all other target applications. Go to correlation. From application attribute, we have to select manager ID. And from identity attribute, we have to select employee ID. These value needs to be matched. We define manager correlation. Now we can execute the task once again. Refresh identity add. The argument is already checked. I am going to execute the task. Now go to identity and check. Manager field is getting up here. Now you can compare with the authority, the feed file. Ali's field manager field will be updated as Steven. Go to identity where it is unchecked for all. The identities manager field is getting up here. This is how we have to define manager correlation if you are local environment. If it is real-time MCs, we can directly get it from HR application as we did in the first step. Then try to refresh all the identity attributes. Manager field will be updated. That's it. Now we can talk about approval. Because every identity will have manager field installed. Similarly, we can ensure every entitlement role should have role owner. As of now, we don't have any owner. We can import. I have already given you the sample role of business role, IT role. We can import that. Can we access the server from here directly? Should we? Or else just navigate to source data file. Source data version 5. Source data. 1 minute. Source. That's it. This row. Rows prism you can import. It will bring couple of IT role, business role. For your practice purpose. Now go to setup roles. Here you can find. Now we are having business role, Prism Manager business role, Super business role. And every role is having owner. It's good. Similarly, whenever we are going to aggregate the entitlement, we have to ensure every entitlement should have owner. As of now, we don't have any entitlement. It's fine. Now it's time to talk about how to define multiple layer of approval. Whenever we are going to submit any access request. Let's say now I'm going to submit access request for Adam. Who is manager? Adam's manager, Douglas. I'm going to request by selecting Prism Manager business role. Who will be the owner? The administrator will be the owner. Right. The moment I hit the submit button, the main workflow will be called. And the workflow name is LCMM provisioning workflow. This workflow is responsible for all request submission activity. From the point it will notify users, manager. It will get all the required approvals from the appropriate approvals. Once approvals are in place, then this workflow is responsible to initiate provisioning transaction. Once provisioning are completed, which when Acon got created modified in the target application, then it will notify users requesters managers. Then it will complete update the access request status. For all these activities, this one workflow is responsible. Here particularly, we are having a variable name called approval scheme. This approval scheme variable is responsible to define multiple layers of approval. From line number 3662, the variable we need to define from here. The first level should go to manager, users manager. Then second level should go to owner, maybe role owner, entitlement owner. We are not sure, right? Which item user is going to request. Technically, we can define as a owner. Let's say you want to define third level of approval also. But who is going to act as a third level of approval? That's very important. But now I am going to choose the security officer as a third level of approval. But here the question is, who is going to act as a security officer? Here you could see we have a variable call from line number 175 to 80. The variable name is security officer. Here we can define who is going to act as a security officer. Hypothetically, I am going to mention Sailpoint is going to act as a security officer. After variable, we have to type initializer. Then we can define. Sailpoint is going to act as a security officer. Click Save. That's it. Now we define 3 levels of approvals as of now. If you want to access the same workflow object from front end, then I would recommend click Setup. Navigate to Business Process. You can validate the same LCMEM provisioning from Business Process also. Workflow and Business Process, both are same. Just click on LCMEM provisioning workflow. Click on Variable Process Variable. From here we can define easily the multiple layer of approval. First level should go to manager. Second level should go to owner. Third level should go to security officer. And who is going to act as a security officer? We have to update. Why it's not reflecting? Because the username didn't match. Here I have selected as Ally Spaceport. Maybe the username could be different. Actually, we have to update the username. Here the username is Ally Sport. But I have updated as Ally Spaceport. Open the same workflow. Go to Security Officer variable. Here I have to add one space. Sorry, I have to remove space. I have to add Ally Sport. That's it. Click Save. The same changes will be reflect from UI also. Now I'll select the workflow once again LCM provisioning. I'll click on Process Variable. See now Security Officer is reflecting here. Now let's say I'm going to define fourth level of approval also from here. Maybe I want to define some specific identity or work group as a fourth level approval. Here itself we can define who is going to act as a fourth level approval. Is it going to be single identity or work group? We can define from here. Let's say Adam Kennedy is going to act as a fourth level approval. That's it, we define. Just click Save. Whatever changes, you've done it from UI. It will be reflected in the same workflow from debug page. We'll confirm that it changes. Changes has been reflected or not. I could see only 3 levels updating. Fourth level is not there, right? Maybe already it's there. We have to drag. Anyhow, we'll check the target application directly. Sorry, we'll check the debug from we can check it from debug page. Now we'll check the target application directly. It's not reflecting. Manager, Owner, Security Officer. The fourth level, it's not getting updated here. Now I have added the fourth level. Sometimes the changes won't reflect. Albert Woods is going to act as a fourth level approval. Click Save. We will check 1 second. Now it's reflecting. We have the target application. Modify 736. The same variable, approval scheme variable. Here I could see first level manager, second level owner, third level security officer, fourth level identity at max. We have defined. Now I'll go ahead and I'll submit the access request for one of the user. Click on Manage User Access. Now I'm going to submit access request for Anthony. Anthony Manager is responsible for first level approval. Then I'm going to select Manager. Here the owner is administrator. Second level, third level and fourth level will be fetched automatically from the workflow variables. And now request has been submitted successfully. All of you pay attention. If you didn't understand anything, you can ask me. Now I have a question. We have defined 4 levels of approval, but here I could see only 3 levels of approval. I could see manager approval, security officer approval, identity approval. Then what went wrong? Why owner level approval is not reflecting? The second level, I mean. Any idea? Maybe it will be up to the manager approval. It will be visible after the manager approval. In that scenario, security officer and identity approval also should not appear here, right? Maybe proper owner is not at us. No owner is there. The owner is administrator, right? If you are going to select this business role, This is a manager business role. Here you can see the owner name is the administrator. And why it's missing? Because here the role owner is the role owner name is the administrator. And who is the requester? The administrator. When requester and approver both are same person, then those work items won't generate. You can consider it's auto-approved. Got. That's key point. Some row you have to remember. Here we have 4 levels of approval. First, always manager has to approve, right? Let's say today manager is not there. Manager is not out of office. Security officer can log in and he can provide his approval decision, right? Is that right? Because Sailpoint has generated all work items at the same time. If you want to access this work item, just click on my work item. From here you can validate, view everything. See manager level, security officer level, 4th level. Second level approval is not generated because it's auto approved. Today manager is not available. Elizabeth is not available. Maybe today Alice would have received a notification email from Sailpoint. Alice would have logged in and he would have approved the request, right? He would have approved this approval work item. Or maybe he would have rejected. What will happen in that scenario? Do you think is it the right approach? The approval should go in the sequential order one by one. Is that right? What I am saying. Now I will do one thing. I will log in. But I don't know about the Sailpoint. But many systems allow like a parallel approval and sequential approval. It depends how we define also, right? We can talk about that as well. Now I have logged in as one of the approver, 3rd level of approver. I logged in as Alice 4. Guys, pay attention. Now as an approver. It's a 3rd level approval, security office. I think this access is not required for this user as per some criteria. I'm going to reject. I'm going to deny this access. I'm going to deny this work item. As a 3rd level of approval. It's done. We'll see the outcome. The 3rd level approval approver has denied this approval work item. Now we'll go ahead and we'll check the access request status. As of now, the status current step is showing approve and provision. Now I'm going to open it once again. Here it's showing denied. Access request has been denied. Current step is end. Just go ahead and check the approval status. One of the approvers, security officer, approval has been rejected. This work item has already been rejected. This work item, the remaining 2 work item has been cancelled. Which means, obviously, all 3 work items won't be available here because it would have been cancelled or rejected. Right. This is what you have to understand. Very important. When you are going to troubleshoot these kind of issues, this is how you have to process. You understood when all the work item is going to generate at the same time. There are possible scenarios. It won't go in the sequential order as we expected. How do we handle this scenario? To resolve this issue, we have another variable called approval mode. From line number 83 to well then. This approval mode variable is responsible to handle this scenario. Do you want to generate all the work item at the same time, or do you want to generate one work item one by one in the sequential order? If it is parallel, then all the work item will be generated at the same time. If it is serial, one by one, all the work item will be generated. I think, Chandan, you are talking about this one, right? Serial is sequential, yes. Then what is parallel pool and serial pool? Like in this scenario, once we reject any work item, the entire access request got cancelled, right? But let's say if there are rejection and if you don't want to cancel the access request, then you can select parallel pool and serial pool. Let's say if all the approval will be processed. If any rejection it won't, Sailpoint won't consider. That's the difference between parallel and parallel pool, serial and serial pool. As of now, I'm going to change it to serial. Parallel pool and parallel. Parallel means all the work item will be generated at the same time. The same applies to parallel pool also, correct. But if it is parallel and the first approval is going to reject the work item, the entire access request will be cancelled. The access request will be denied. The remaining work item will be cancelled. But if it is parallel pool and if there are any rejection, it won't cancel the other work item. Got. Other work item, like let's say I submitted request for 1 entitlements. It will be 4 approval work item will be generated. First manager cancel the request, then entire remaining 3 work item will be automatically cancelled, right? The first work item is going to reject, then remaining work item will be cancelled. This is the expected behavior, correct? But once the first approval reject, you do want to cancel the other work item. In that scenario, you can select parallel pool. It means in parallel pool, if any reject, also it will not get rejected. It means until all reject this one. Correct. Got it. Now it's up to your environment which approval mode you are going to implement. Is it going to be parallel pool, serial pool? But as of now, for demonstration purpose, I have changed it to serial. And we will submit the request. This is parallel pool and serial pool, like election. Suppose we have the 4 approval, 3 approval, each approval. Should be just a minute. Suppose we have the 4 approval, 3 are approval, 1 is denied. Its request could be approved or not. No, it will be cancelled only. Now I'm going to save this one. And I'll go ahead and submit the request. But this terminology we need to explain to the government's means wherever they're going to implement. We need to explain because this is not the only Sailpoint terminology, right? This is not the common terminology. These are the approaches what we have in Sailpoint product. You have to educate your business to get the approval, which method they can implement, and you have to make them understand. And that is one more point. Basically, last time you discussed that then work approval could be the workgroup or identity. Workgroup is like a group of identities. That where we need to add the person manually each time, or we can define a rule or something. No, we have to add the workgroup manually from here. We will learn later of the chapter how to create workgroup. I'm saying how to define user for the workgroup. Let's say define a group called security officer. I want that all the users who comes under the department security officer that should be automatically added to the workgroup. That can be done, or each time I need to manually add it to the user whenever he joins the agency. Just a minute. First I'll elaborate how to create this workgroup. Then I'll answer 5 questions. Yes. If you want to create any workgroup, you have to click on workgroup. Click on create new workgroup. From this drop down you can add all the members, the required numbers. Now the security admin, something you said right. Second, this is the workgroup name. Let's say I have a rule name called Prism Super. For Prism Super, who is the owner sec admin? In this sec admin workgroup, we have 2 members, correct? If somebody is going to request for this Prism Super role, any one of the member from the workgroup, they can provide their approval decision. Is that clear now? Chana? Yes, this is clear, but I'm asking how to add member to the workgroup automatically. That is my question. We cannot add automatically, we have to add manually from here. Each time, let's say security admin has. Security admin is a department in my organization. This has 3 members right now. 5 members are resigning and 5 new members join. They are resigning, then I need to remove manually. Yes. And if your person join, then it should be added manually. Correct, you are right. It cannot automatically. No, we cannot automatically. Because every time the member could be different, right? The identity name will be different. Name could be different, but I want that there should be some rule like could be defined. There should be a way that check the department of the users. And whoever belong to the security admin department, let's add to the workgroup security admin. Something is possible means some custom. Yes. These kind of customization, we can do it high level customization. Maybe if you have a criteria, let's say if any user belongs to particular department and their job title is equal to some value, maybe developer or something, then these members should be part of the work group and we can do that. Oh, it's possible. It's possible. That's a high level customization. Fulfill your requirement. Already we discussed, right? Whenever we are going to assign any access to new user, we can assign that role also, right? I mean, yesterday we talked about loopback connector. Loopback connector is responsible to aggregate workgroup as an entitlement. That entitlement can be part of IT role, business role. As you said, the new member is going to join as a manager or some as identity, right? then that user should have the business role to get all the application access. In that scenario, the user also will be part of the workgroup automatically. Got. Thanks. Because that is I'm checking off the possibility because Sailpoint is capable enough to create a rule in that scenario to fulfill your requirement. Or else we can go ahead with loopback control. Both. Thank you. I think Subir, can you take control? Rakesh, one question I have is when you create a group, like for a group for approvers, say security admin, there are 5 people in this group and their notification goes to all 5 and if one approves, then it's considered approved. How would you say that this is a work group? I know we define the names and stuff, or maybe I missed it. But if it is a work group, how do you define that in the setup, in the workflow? I mean, you want to know in this setup, this one will receive a notification email. Right. Correct. Instead of security, you create a work group and there are 5 people or 4 people in this work group. Let's say that I request access and for security, these 4 people receive the email. And if one approves, it's considered approved. And the other notifications become null because we've already received approval. In that case, how do you define in the workflow screen? How would you define the work group for security, admin? Here it's all very defined, right? These are roles. Defined owner as a second and already the policy approvals in variable be defined. The second level should go to owner. And one more thing on top of that. Whenever we are creating any group, we can instead see if they have any group email, chat, mailbox. Email can be sent to that group email or else each member should receive notification email separately. We can do that as well. Thank you. Let's get back to the approval. Now I have updated approval mode as a serial write. And we are going to check what item is getting generated one by one. Approval mode is serial. Now I'll go ahead and submit it by selecting Prism Super. And who is the owner? Second minister. Now, my question is how many approval work item will be generated in this scenario? Anyone have to? 3, since the owner cannot be the approver. The owner cannot be the approver. But in this scenario, let me show you. Now I'm going to request for the request cannot be the approval. Sorry, the request cannot be the approver. Second one. Are you sure? I'm going to request for the sequential is what it means. Only one work item in the general. Let's see how it's going to react. Alright? Here you could see, just click on my work. Access request. As of now, only one of the work item is there and from Howard. Howard is the manager. He was a small. Now let's say what is not available. This work item needs to be delegate as Jen said initially. Every manager already left an organization, but obviously Sailpoint will generate approval work item and it will be assigned to Howard. Because still and his manager is all. What will happen in this scenario? We have to delegate these kind of work item manual. Or else we can write some customization rule where we can mention if manager status is inactive, then it should reassign. It should delegate to his line manager's line manager. We can do something like that. Now the manager's Howard Wright manager is not available. I'm going to delegate this. Basically, I'm going to forward this to other person, other identity, other manager. I'm going to forward this work item to administrator. And since already I logged in as administrator, I'm going to approve this manager, the first level of the list. Any of you guys learned how to delegate this work item manually also? And I hope you guys are familiar with approval scheme variable, approval mode variable. If yes, then we can talk about approval split also. Now you could see owner approval has been generated and it's assigned to Secademy. Who is Secademy? Any one of the member can provide their approval decision. Which mean already we have added two identities, right? You have to log in with that identity and you have to complete this approval work item. That's it. Any question till here? Any? Now I'm going to submit access request for one of the user by selecting couple of entitlement. Let's say two entitlement and two business role I'm going to request. The username is Anna. For Anna, I'm going to request two entitlements. From Prism application, let's say Prism Manager. Paranicos is the owner. And Prism User. Administrator is the manager. Owner Administrator is the owner. But before that, I need to check how many level of approval I have to find. I forgot that. Now I'm going to define approval scheme. None means none of the approvals will be required. I'm going to define manager as a first level. Then owner as a second level. We define two level of approval, only manager and one. And we are going to submit access request for this item. How many approval work item will be generated? Any idea quickly? 1 manager, 2 row owner. And already I logged in as administrator. How many work item will be generated? Obviously, manager approval will be generated. But this role, also role owner, will be generated. What about this role? For this role, approval is not required. Is that right? Because approver and requester both are same person. And approval mode is serial. Now, request has been submitted successfully. Go to access request. Here you could see it's pending for Maria approval. Who is Maria? Users manager. Once again, I'm going to delegate this Maria approval to SPM, that we can avoid the login log order. Manager approval. Maria is the owner. This time I'll delegate this manager. As a manager, I know this person is looking for these 2 access roles. I'm going to approve for both. After manager approval, we require owner approval for 2 items, 2 role. Oh, I was not expecting this. Guys, we can talk about the severe error later, that you can understand how to troubleshoot on this issue. I'll make a note of this. Using this incident code, we can capture all the logs easily. I make a note here. It's not working. It's not working better. Let me try to submit for other user. But this time I'm going to define. Since Maria is going for vacation, Maria has requested a Sailpoint admin team to enable the delegation. Maria is going for vacation, we can enable the delegation. Whatever work item is going to assign, Maria can be redirected to the respective person. And from what will be the time to start. Date and date you can define from here. I'll submit the access request once. We'll try with different identity, whose manager is Maria. How will you find out any idea? We need a user who is reporting to Maria. If you want to search, then navigate to Intelligence Advanced Analytics. From here we can check whoever is reporting to Maria. We can select Maria White and click on Run Search. Here you could see something went wrong. Manager should be true. No, something is not working in my system. We'll try to submit the request directly. We submitted the request for Anna and Maria is the manager. By selecting two different tools, one is Present Manager. We cannot submit request because it's already in the pending state. We have to cancel that first. Cancel this access request. Look at yours inside. Now, request has been cancelled. I can submit. I can select Prism Manager and Prism User. Click Next. And I can hit the Submit button. And meanwhile, guys, all of you try to onboard HRMS application and try to aggregate data into Sailpoint. It requires more approval. By the request submission time itself, we are getting manager approvable because I'm the approver and the requester both. I can provide the manager approval from here itself because already we enabled delegation for Maria. Approval also completed the first level approval. Now it's pending for second level approval. May know why it's showing as waiting. Can somebody answer for this question? See, I submitted a request for Anna. Who is manager for Anna? For Maria profile, we already enabled the delegation. Manager approval automatically assigned to SP admin. And by submitting the request itself, manager approval has been completed. Now it's pending for owner approval. Owner approval from Aaron Nichols. Who is Aaron Nichols? He is the owner for this Prism Manager. Business role. What about Prism user business role? Approval work item didn't generate because requester and request are unapproved. Both are same person. That's fine. Then it should go to provisioning state, right? Why it's showing waiting? Can somebody answer for the question? If you didn't understand anything, if it looks complex, just start. I'll explain one more time. We define two levels of approval. Manager and owner. And we set the approval mode as a serial, which means one by one on the work. All the work item will be generated in the sequential order. Once all the manager approval has been completed, second level approval item got generated. For this Prism user approval work item won't generate because user, a requester and approver both are same person. It should go to provisioning state directly, right? But it's showing waiting. Frankly, it should be cancelled because requester and approver are the same person. It doesn't mean it's going to be cancelled. It's auto-approved. We have to think as auto-approved item. Maybe if you're looking for that customization, then it's a different scenario. The means ideal world also. Let's say if any person is requesting and he's approving himself, then it's a called segregation. No, it's not like that. Let's say you are a business owner for one application and you are trying to submit request for your own team for this from the same application. That's not comes under desegregation of duties. But in Sailpoint, we have the functionality approver and requester, both are same person, then it will be auto approved. It's not like it's going to be cancelled. If you are looking for cancel, then we have to implement some customization. Well, that is the default feature, basically. Default feature and in real time also. I never see. I hope you guys got my question. Why it's showing waiting? Because there is a dependency. In Sailpoint, all the approval needs to be processed at one shot. If all the approvals are completed, then only it will to provisioning state, which means now we selected two business rules, right? Both business rule approval needs to be completed. Then one need to go to our provisioning state, both together. Imagine a scenario you requested for 50 entitlement out of 5049 entitlement. Owner has approved already because of one approval. Because the approval is not responding, maybe approval is not available. One item is in the pending state. What happened to those 49 or 2 approved items? After a certain couple of days, the work item will be expired. In that scenario, entire access request will be cancelled. And already we got 49 approval, even though it will be cancelled. And that's the expected behavior, out of the box functionality. What should we do? We have to implement some customization where once for any role or entitlement, usually we'll call it as item. But any item, once approvals are completed, it should go to the next step called provisioning. Instead of waiting for other approval needs to be complete or other role or other entitlement, approval needs to be complete. We have to eliminate this dependency. That's what after we split. Is that make sense? Technically, here we have it. You can imagine we have a requirement from the business by stating once for any item approvals are completed, it should go to next step called provisioning instead of waiting for other items to be complete to get the approval from the appropriate person. In such scenarios, in Sailpoint we have other variable called approval split point. What we are learning today, this is what this business comes under. Development. I won't say it's a hardcore development, but it's part of the development activity. Or I would say whatever changes you are going to perform in the workflow level. It comes under development activity. We have a variable called approval split point. First, you need to enable this variable, which means that initializer should be declared as a true. That approval split point can be enabled. The second step, we have to introduce a new functionality called. I'll do one thing. We have a variable called split disabled, combine creates. Split disabled combine creates. This is the new variable name. We have to introduce this. The variable should be enabled and this variable needs to be closed. That's it. We introduce a new variable. And we have approval split point, which is already enabled. That's it. We'll go ahead and we'll submit the access request for other user and we'll see how it's going to react. This time I'm going to submit access request for Annie, not for Anna. Who is the manager? How is the manager? By selecting the same business role, Prism Manager, and Aaron Nicole is the owner, and I'm going to select Prism User. For this user, we cannot select. I'll select other user. I'm going to select David Anderson. Prism Manager and Prism User. To business role. It's submit. Obviously, it requires first level approval from manager. A request has been submitted. Spending with John Williams. Either I can log in as John Williams or to save time. I will delegate this work item to the manager and I will give it to SPF. From John Williams is the owner as of now. From John Williams to SPF. Now I can provide first level approval decision. Approval all. Complete. And for one business role, second level approval work item won't generate because it got auto approved. It will be auto approved, right? Go to my work access request. It's not working as expected. This Prism Super should update as complete, right? But still it's showing waiting. Just a minute. I got approval mode. In this scenario, we cannot consider approval mode as a serial. It should be either parallel or you can set it as any. It should be any parallel. Approval mode should be any. Approval split point be enabled, but we forgot to define at which level the approval needs to be split. I'm going to set it as after owner level approval, it should be split. I forgot to update that. That's very important because as of now, we define only two levels of approval. After owner level, it should split. There should not be any dependency. That's very important to define. I forgot to define that. And now I'll go ahead and I'll submit request. You have to remember three variables. One is approval split. It needs to be defined. It needs to be enabled. As well as you have to define at which level approval needs to be split. And you have to introduce a new variable. The third one, approval mode variable. It could be any. It could be parallel. We cannot go ahead with serial. Maybe you can give a try whether it's working in serial mode or not. I will cancel this access request and I'll resubmit. I'm going to submit request. Present manager. Present user business role. Now, request has been submitted successfully. We have to complete all the approvals. Again, it's pending for approval from the first approval manager. Since I already logged in as administrator, I cannot. Even though I'm the administrator, I have full permission. I cannot provide my approval decision because only owner are allowed to. Owner means I'm talking about work item owner. Work item owner are allowed to provide the approval decision. Let me delegate this to SP admin. As a manager, I have provided the approval decision. First level approval is completed. Now it's working as expected, right? First level approval is completed for this role. Second level approval is not required because role owner and approval. Role owner and requester. Approval and requester. Both are same person. It will be auto-approved directly into provisioning state. We have a wide dependency over here. We are able to eliminate successfully. That's what approval split. Any question? If you didn't understand anything or maybe if you need practice, feel free to ask. Rakesh, if you mention approval modus lini, what mod will it follow? It is automatically following the serial only. And this setup is for only one application, Rakesh, for example. For example, let's say for service, now I need only 2 levels of approval. And for loopback connector, I need only 1 level of approval. Then how we can achieve that? Here we have a sub-workflow called Identity Request Approved. You have to implement some customization in this workflow. We have to implement some custom approvals from here using this workflow. We have to mention each application. Not each application. You can do one thing. You can create a custom object. And you can call this custom object in this workflow. If application name is equal to service, then it requires only 2 levels of approval. Maybe if you have a list of application where if it requires 2 levels of approval, then we can follow only 2 levels of approval. Then the transition can go to InStep directly, which means we can avoid the security officer and the 4th level of approval. Custom object, as in it's a configurable one. You can add or remove the application from the list. Custom object is not but nothing. Simple custom object. You can create it from here. Kind of input file, something like that. Rakesh, I'm sorry I missed a part of it, but I just wanted to understand that if you at any point go and edit the workflow, you know how you did split and all that stuff. Everything, that is, every request that is in approval already. Is it going to reflect for the existing access request? I think that's it for today. This severe error we can discuss later because we got one incident code right. We'll talk about this later. Today we talk about how to define multi-layer of approval. Then we learn what are the different approval modes are there. We talk about approval split. That's it. These time machine access request customization we can. And finally, do not forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel.